for Gretta. She gave up her time to be here with us tonight. Come on. Gretta. Thank you. So tonight, very informal chat, and we'll get to the Q&A at the end. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I've been chasing Gretta for some time, so I'm very happy for you to finally join us tonight. Let's get started. Give me a little bit about your background. I know you got Mum here tonight. Was Mum an entrepreneur? Where's Mum gone?
Mum's a social worker.
Yeah?
So, not quite. So I guess I started studying media and communications. I did a media and communications degree at Melbourne Uni, graduated that and started work as a digital marketing manager at a media agency in the city. And I was helping head their print to digital transition at the time, which I thought was a huge opportunity and a great role. But I guess I started out and I was reporting directly to the CEO, and he just didn't have anything for me to do really. Like the role wasn't very well defined yet. And so he'd be like, here's 3 weeks of work, and I'd go and do it in 3 days and be like, okay, Michael, now what do I do? Eager little kid.
Yep.
I think I was like 21. And he'd be like, oh, just wait. And I was developing really engaged communities for them on social media. And so when I was waiting on their stuff, I started working on my own. And basically I had been doing my own detox tea program, and then everyone around the office was like, oh, can I try that? And then all my friends were wanting to try it, and I had so many Facebook inboxes, it was getting pretty frustrating. So I was like, I'm just going to make a website, I'm just going to set it up. So I made a website on Shopify. It only took, I think, something like 4 hours or something to create the first website, because we only had one product, so it wasn't very difficult. And I'd never created a website before, so I think anybody can do that. And so created that and started an Instagram account for that, and kind of just grew from there.
What year are we talking?
We're talking
Can you guys hear me all right?
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2012?
2012, May 2012. So I was 22 by this time.
And why Instagram? Why not Facebook? Why not Pinterest, whatever?
Well, I just personally really liked the platform. I just started using it myself and had been growing a few other accounts. Like I wanted to sell a few of the pieces from my wardrobe. So I created like a shop my wardrobe type Instagram because it was more anonymous than Facebook. And I would put up items that weren't even for sale and just pretend that they were for sale and then be like, sold. And people would really like them. They'd be like, oh, I really want that Celine bag. And I'd be like, too bad it's sold, but here's this crappy thing that's mine. And then I'd buy it.
Nice.
So basically that grew to like over 1,000 followers quite quickly. So I was like, well, there is obviously an audience for these pages that aren't a personal following. So that was kind of the difference between a Facebook and an Instagram at that stage. Like Instagram wasn't so much that friend-centric economy that's like, I'm just going to friend you and add you. It was more the following, and at the time people were still kind of using Instagram like Facebook. So they were just following their friends and their family and maybe like Justin Bieber. And we started our Instagram page, Skinny Me Tea, back then, and there were no rate limits at the time either. So you could like just systematically sit there each night. I would sit there for like 4 or 5 hours and just follow people, and then the next night I'd unfollow them again. But the idea of being followed by a brand that had maybe like 5,000 or 6,000 followers at the time, and it kept scaling from there.
And how does like, I see a common trend when we like introduce Nathan or just another big Instagram guy. There seems to be quite a lot of networking that takes place between other kind of
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Nichify, my tech platform, talk about that later. So basically, in Tasmania bought our tea, and she had like 1,000 followers on Instagram. Her name's Brooklyn. And she posted on the tea, and we got our biggest day of sales ever. So I was like, okay, I'm going to send to more of these people that have like 1,000 plus followers, because that's what an influencer was at the time. But people weren't really doing that at the time either. So it was really handy because you'd send them free tea and they'd be like, thank you so much. And now you'd send them free tea and they'd be like, where's my $2,000? So yeah, like at the time that worked really, really well. So whenever I was going through doing my manual following and unfollowing to help try to like just manually grow the account, every time I saw a girl that fit our demographic over like 1,000 followers, I'd screenshot her and then I'd chat to her, grab her email, send her some free tea and she'd post on the tea. And so we were growing like that. There's also different relationships behind the scenes where you can do different kind of shares, which I think is more what Nathan would have been talking about. He does SFS a lot, it's called. SFS is basically like shout out for shout out or share for share, where say you have 5,000 followers on Instagram and you find another page that has around 5,000 followers as well, you manually help each other grow. Like you would shout them out and say, okay, this is my friend Chris, follow him on Instagram, he shares similar content to me, or like he has a really great guide on how to
73 followers.
Yeah, so Chris could collaborate with someone with like 73 to 75 followers too.
Yeah, he didn't shout me out back.
Oh,
No.
that's
So what's like something practical for someone that has no followers like me or startups trying to kind of grow their brand on Instagram?
Well, there's a few things. I guess there's a lot of places to start. Obviously, content is a really big thing. Finding really engaging content on Instagram is quite easy now with hashtags. There's top posts at the top of the hashtags. So as long as you have a look, you can see like what the top 8 posts or whatever are, and then just repost that. And it will get quite good engagement based off that. But basically, to begin with, there are now tools and technologies that do what I did at the start by hand. So there's automated, targeted liking and following and unfollowing programs that can be creepy at times, so you need to be a little careful. But there's a good one called Instagress, Insta Gress, and basically it's super targeted, and that's why it's so handy. And you can set it to quite low numbers that aren't obvious. Like you can say follow 100 people and then stop and unfollow them again in a day. And you can say, don't ever follow the same person twice. You can say, only follow the followers of Oprah, for example, because I'm another talk show host. And so they're the super targeted audience that I would want to target. So when you're starting out, and I know people that have grown their Instagrams from, like a girlfriend of mine that just posts her like crappy recipe food shots each day has grown her account to 36,000 followers in like 4 months using this. So it actually does work. And so that's a really good place to start. But once you've got that leverage, the better place to kind of continue on is to do those, like to work with other Instagram accounts to build your mutual following. You can also pay for those shout outs as well. Or you can buy Instagram accounts. But you just need to obviously make the right offer.
So going back to the T-Tox business, I'm guessing you're getting these ingredients from the supermarket or at a market or something originally and just putting them together yourself. Can you explain the transition from kind of, making this by hand and then the growth of the company and then trying to seek out manufacturers or whatever and that kind of crazy journey?
Yeah, that was a pretty difficult stage. We manufactured it for quite a while on our own. And did all our own logistics as well. So I think we had around 30 staff in the end of 2012, like the start of 2013, that were doing pick and packing, logistics, some manufacturing, and we were getting it from all different suppliers Australian-wide. And then I moved to Hong Kong and we had a look into Chinese manufacturing, but the quality just wasn't the same. Like every time we'd send it back to Australia for testing, it was just like E. coli, whatever else. So we just have to throw it out and start again. So we stuck to the Australian manufacturing. We found a great manufacturer in New South Wales. And also there was another need to do that because we ended up getting our TGA. So we're TGA approved, which is the Therapeutic Goods Administration. For people that haven't heard of it, they are an authoritative body that they govern therapeutic goods rather than the FSANZ that does foods. So that was a really long, hard process too.
When did you figure that out? There's a story in that too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. after we got a letter from them saying they could sue us for $12 million. We were like, oh, we should probably get onto that. But they worked pretty well with us at the time. And they were happy that we were cooperative. Like a lot of other companies say, yeah, sure, we're on it, and then don't do anything.
Yep.
So they knew that we had engaged with consultants and we went down the right path, and it took a long time and it cost a lot, but at least now it's completely regulated and you can sleep better.
Yep. So going back to like early days, where was this tipping point where you went, shit, this is going to be big? Like,
I think when I quit my full-time job, basically I'd been working full-time at the same time and fulfilling the orders on the weekend, and then I didn't really know when I would stop and like start Skinny Me Tea completely, and I didn't know whether I would at all. I thought it was just a hobby. I thought it was a trend and it would pass. And so I guess when I started, it was monetary. Like when I started making like my weekly wage in a day, or my monthly wage in a day, and my weekly wage in an hour, I was like, okay, yeah, I need to focus on this. And I spoke to a few people about quitting, and they were all like, don't do it. And so I just did it and didn't tell anybody. And then, yeah, told them later when it was too late for me to back out.
So every entrepreneur has some crazy failures or some, things they would have done better. I saw you just kind of slink in your chair then. Give us some of the things that, like, some practical advice of, if there was a second time around, what you would have done different.
Yeah. I've had at least $3 million lessons. The first one was I had no business background at all. I operated as a sole trader for the first year of business, and we went from $0 to $600,000 in under 6 months per calendar month. So we were pretty screwed with our tax bill at the end of that year. I think I built like at least one road. So that was a bad one. The Chinese manufacturing, it was going well, and we were getting the right quality out of them, and so we made a really large order quantity. Like we upped our order quantity by a lot and ordered like $1.2 million worth of tea, and then got it, and it was full of there was like metal bolts in it. So had to throw it out. It cost $14,000 just to throw it out. And so that was lesson number 2. And then lesson number 3 was more product related with my tech startup, Nichify. We just developed it in a way, it was just basic product stuff. We just ended up having to scrap the original product and redevelop all over again, which had cost like 2 years of time and $2 million.
Wow.
So yeah, there's definitely been a lot of things. If I could go back, I would definitely change, but the good part was none of that actually tipped us to go under. And I was always so scared when I first started that we would go under, and I would always talk to people about it and be like, what if everything would change? Like I was living in Hong Kong at the time. I was talking to one of my friends who was a mentor at a turnaround company, and I was like, what if we went under tomorrow? And he's like, what would you do on Monday? And I was like, I'd probably just start something else. And he's like, exactly. So you still get all those learnings out of it. I like to think of them more like $1 million MBAs.
No. So can you go through, Skinny Me Tea through to, was Drop Bottle next?
The 5th was next.
5th was next.
Yeah.
So really
All
cool.
kind of Nichify.
Yeah.
Like the concept of Nichify was next, but the 5th launched next.
Cool. So can you explain, what's the Instagram account and your all your social following? How's that going right now? And then when was it when people were like, I was pitching you before. When do people start coming to you and saying, look, can you help me launch this product? Or how did it develop into the other businesses, or were they your own ideas?
Yeah, I think after I started the 5th, it kind of validated the business model a bit. SMT was kind of like, yeah, she had this good company, it trended, well done, she kept up. And then the 5th was that was kind of more the time that people started maybe paying a bit more attention in that way, because we were able to take pretty much the same e-commerce model as Skinny Me Tea and apply it to a completely different product and have even greater success. So the Fifth we founded, I have a co-founder at the Fifth, Alex McBride. Him and I founded the Fifth in 2014 at the end of the year, on December 5th we started. And basically we had a really large waiting list before we started because we'd sent out to 50 influencers and got some really great content. We just pitched them, sent out, just said, we're a really little business, like, can you help us out and maybe do a post in return for a watch? They were horrible, like they were our samples. Some of them didn't even work, but they look good in photos, so it was fine. And so basically on the first day that we launched, we had 16,000 really qualified email subscribers. And we sold out within the first day of sales. And we were like, oh God, what are we gonna do? People are gonna be pretty angry that we've sold out in, a day and they've been waiting 2 months. So we're like, let's turn a negative into a positive, and everything in marketing, all you need to do is make it look like you meant to do it. And I'm like, yeah, that was deliberate. We deliberately sell out in 1 day because we only sell on the 5th of each month for 5 days. And so we stuck to that model, and we thought maybe we'd let it go after a while, but then it became the defining feature of the business. And it's a really interesting way to do it. So it's kind of scarcity, it's limited availability, but that exclusivity that applies to the product isn't available within our price point usually. So usually like designer items like a watch would be, the exclusivity of the product would be determined by how much it cost. But with the Fifth, it's more determined based off time rather than price. So we can still offer our timepieces at an affordable like mass market price but have that exclusivity.
How do you start forecasting for a business like that?
We didn't.
No.
I would not. I think audience is forecast.
Yeah.
I don't think that you need to forecast if you have a great audience, if you're seeing the metrics and the numbers on paper or on your screen. If you know that you have that many qualified leads, there's average market conversion rates, of course. So you can, that would be a way to forecast, of course. We also, I wouldn't over forecast because you wouldn't want to overinvest. Like, I've seen and been involved in startups where we've overinvested time and money before we've tested the market, and it's just.
I guess that was probably a better question. Like,
Yeah.
how do you not get stuck with, 10,000 watches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably would have been good if we'd had 10,000 watches, but no, I think just building up quantities slowly and over time is a good way. I mean, when I started SMT, it was pre-sale, so I had $24 in the bank at the time. I didn't take a business loan. We just kind of grew from, we sold our first 4 packs on the first night of sales through the website, through Instagram, and grew from there. I was just fulfilling the orders on the weekend. So the smaller you can start, the better. Even if you can get 10 units of your product, or 50 or 100, don't get 3,000.
So did cash flow ever become an issue? With say Fifth watches then, if it wasn't pre-order?
No, we allowed the cash flow to determine
what the next order was.
For a while. Yeah. So whatever we'd make that month, we'd put 80% of it back into stock.
I want to just I usually do this at the end, but it's actually better if they go through in between. You said about the sold bags, right? What are some of the hacks that you could just implementable for other people that have just worked for you?
The Instagram.
Yeah, this is the sold out bit you put, and then sold your own bag after you had the good one that went.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. At the very start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this would not be relevant if I ask it right at the end,
No, yeah, that makes sense. Other growth hacks that work. So yeah, we spoke about the shout out for shout out. Except, yeah, I guess again the Instagram thing is quite helpful. I'm not going to say hashtags. Everyone always says use hashtags to reach your audience, and you're like, yeah, that's very helpful. Thanks, guys. Liking actually helps quite a lot as well. So even if you can just talk to some larger pages and ask them to simply like your photo, like inbox a few pages after you've posted and get them to like your photo because it can push it onto the popular page. So basically you're trying to kind of like, with Instagram, we often like try to like break the algorithm of Instagram. So say we post a new post, I'll like that from, we now have 16 million followers across our different Instagram accounts. So I'll like it all at once from all of them and it'll push it straight onto the explore page and other people will see it and you'll grow from there. So I think it's really developing those key relationships, and not only with influencers who you might think are influencers in your industry, like a model or something for a bikini company. It can be pages as well. So in your niche, in your industry, there'll always be different pages and different accounts that relate directly back to your product. And it's about building those, and if you can, building them yourself too. So not only relying on those branded page accounts that are like the Skinny Me Tea account, we also have like detox tips, detox water, BeFit Foods, BeFit Babes, BeFit Smoothies, like so many different accounts. But they're all verticals basically that are like the top of your funnel, and then you can nurture the leads down into your branded account and ideally into a conversion.
Flipping back to the fifth watches bit,
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay back there? I feel like I got nothing. Is it Alex, right?
Yeah.
Did Alex come to you with that idea, or you just kind of had this idea and he says you and you say him?
No. We were close friends at the time, so it was quite collaborative. I think that, he was more keen on doing watches. He wanted to basically do something, and we wanted to work together. He had a design blog to begin with, like his background is more in architecture. Well, his parents are architects, and he had a design blog, and he was looking at ways to monetize his design blog. And so that's what we began speaking about to begin with, and we were talking about different ways that we could monetize that. We were thinking like creative stationery that like fostered creativity and just coming up, like brainstorming a lot of different ideas, and then somehow it ended up as watches.
Right, and then how do you go from watches to, was it drop bottle now?
Drop bottle, yeah. Drop bottle is a bit different. So drop bottle is basically a detox water drink bottle, which is very niche, but we had that niche audience again. I think like a lot of people talk about product market fit. I like to more think about it as market product fit. So you develop your market and then you think like which products would suit this audience. So basically that was drop bottle. Drop bottle, I just picked up on a trend on Instagram, on Pinterest actually, detox waters, which were people were putting like lots of fruit in their water. And I started an Instagram account called @detoxwater, and that grew really, really quickly. It's almost at 950,000 followers or something. And I was like, what can we do to monetize this account? And so we created these pretty drink bottles, and Oprah just picked them as her Christmas gift, one of the gifts of the year or something, which was insane actually. It was front page of Amazon, so that was really helpful.
Before the, let's get on. I want to talk about Nichify. Obviously, we'll go through that journey there. But just coincidentally, and this is not like in your bio or stuff, I happen to drive past, I drive St Kilda every morning, and I noticed you have a retail store there.
We do.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just basically, it's like the front of our office. Like our office had a shop front, and so we just decided that we'd put a retail. We've never done any marketing kind of around that. It's a nice space, and people just walk through and come in. It's on Barclay Street in St Kilda. So there's some foot traffic, but we don't overly market the fact that we have it. We just, the staff, like, maybe like customer service. Like
that gives my questions on. I was going to ask about retail versus e-commerce,
no,
but just
I don't know much about retail.
So let's go to Nichify. So this to me is basically you decided like you've got this really powerful network, and how can we leverage it? Is that right?
Yeah.
And is this also like a like a culmination of all the amazing people that you've met through all these brands that you can now reach out to and?
Yeah, it was kind of more a way, like you said, like when did people start approaching me? Like a lot of people started to approach me for advice on how to grow their social media. And this was kind of a way to not just combine those great relationships that we'd built with different like Instagrammers and influencers throughout the years, but also a way to kind of put the way that I marketed and like my head into a technology. So it's kind of this Nichify and what will be our product release in January when we bring out the next release, because we're doing an entire redevelopment right now. In fact, the other platform is about to, I think it's getting taken down tomorrow. In preparation. We're doing a closed beta in December, so if anybody has a brand that they'd like to test out in December, we're working really, really closely with probably only like 15 select brands to help them with their influencer marketing. So yeah, in December we're launching our beta, but basically Nichify is a influencer marketing platform that connects brands with social influencers at scale. The difference from other marketplaces on the market right now would be we don't just focus on that one-sided relationship, which is the commercial relationship between the brand and the influencer. Like an influencer is paid by a brand to post. We also focus on the multi-directional relationship and nature of the market. So basically the influencer-to-influencer relationship, so shout-outs, brand to brand, so collaborations between brands. You might want to do like a competition with two, like a bikini company and a board short company on Instagram, for example, to help each other grow. So that's basically our endpoint and our unique value proposition. But yeah, so basically when we started Nichify, I had maybe about 200 million in reach in the relationships that I already had. So reach, I say, it's combined social media following. So say somebody had like 200,000 followers, that would add up into that 200 million. By the time that we were 6 months in, we had over 1 billion. So there's a really, really big audience to promote to, and it's the point of difference with Nichify as well is that it's not only about those paid collaborations, like paying an influencer $500 to post on your product, it's more about being creative and working out how to work with influencers so that you can just either give them your product or give them your story and convince them that they should be working with you for different reasons. So it's not all paid on Nichify either, because we're not a marketplace. We don't take a clip of transactions, so we don't need people to be spending a lot of money on the platform. The aim is probably for brands to spend as little and get as much return as possible.
So if I'm looking at like your other businesses and you talk about Shopify and pretty much, you know, solutions that are outside of the box, and now this is like a really custom kind of app. Do you want to talk about the learnings in doing that? It sounds like you had some issues, and then you know, kind of comment on that whole, you know, startup related thing about you need a technical co-founder. Was this the thing that you saw in moving from across?
It would be great to have a technical co-founder because I just always wish I could code. I sit there and I'm like, I just want to finish it myself. You lazy people, why are you sleeping? It's 3 a.m. Be up.
Yeah.
So I would just sit there and do it all night. And if I had a technical co-founder, I would hope that they would do the same thing. So I think having that level of involvement is amazing. But if you can pay for it, then you don't necessarily need a technical co-founder. You need a technical team. You don't necessarily need a technical co-founder. At the same time, yeah, technologies change very quickly. When we started building Nichify 2 years ago, that platform is now quite dated. So we wanted to build it out on a hybrid technology so that basically like the app could split across the 2 code bases onto Android and onto iOS. We're building on Ionic, if anyone's techie in the room and knows what that means. Or with Ionic, I don't know. And it's just been so much faster. So it took like over a year to build something that I wasn't quite happy with yet. And now it's taken 6 months to rebuild the entire thing, including a web database as well. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of learnings. It's entirely different. Like, tech is just so different because with a physical product, you can start selling it and gauge your market response basically straight away. You just need so much faith in yourself with a technical product because you're developing it and you can't test it until it works at all. And you don't want to test it until it's good, let alone, there's MVP, of course, and people understand that, except at the same time, it's still a representation of your company. So yeah, I found starting a technical product really difficult.
And advice to like non-technical people? Did you did you have a friend that was technical that could kind of help advise on these meetings, or you kind of do it on the fly?
No, but I had a development team straight away. I used an agency that had like a product owner, etc. as well. So like it was a fully inclusive service. But yeah, I think having a technical co-founder would probably be a good thing.
Let me take some of the questions. Compared to your other endeavors, Nichify seems like a more serious startup. Good, we're right on this. How did you fund it? And are you using your own cash? And then are you going to look at venture capital, I guess?
We just closed our seed round, so that was exciting, stressful, really, really stressful. Especially as a sole founder, it's just hard to weigh up like what's good for the product and the company versus what's good for the team, then what's good for you, and you ends up kind of coming last most of the time, and you're just giving away parts of your company and whatever else. It's just a scary time. But we did close our seed round. We raised $1 million mostly from Blackbird Venture, if anyone knows Blackbird, in Sydney, who have been incredible. I don't know how we would have done it without them. I would call Nicky like in tears every few days, and he'd just solve the problem in 2 minutes.
Yeah, we've hosted him. We've hosted him for him.
Okay, yeah. Nicky's great. So they were really, really helpful, and we were just so lucky. And I'd been shopping around, looking around at different investors for so long and just hadn't found anywhere near the right fit. But Blackbird, a lot of them were founders of their own companies. They're not just ex-finance people. So that was really helpful. But I did fund the original product myself from Skinny Me Tea, basically. I would just draw dividends from there and fund it from there. But yeah, I think that what you said, like with Sugar UX, for example, building a functional prototype and going out and raising that seed round from the start would probably be quite a good idea. But the longer you can hold off, if you can bootstrap longer, the more equity you're going to retain. So we didn't actually have to give up that much equity in return for that. And it was a convertible note, which is basically structured debt. So we haven't given up any equity yet.
Nice. Yeah, I'm all about.
Very hot.
Are you?
Yeah,
Sorry, I think the lights are just on you.
It's okay. Just ignore my sweatiness.
Social seems very difficult. Here we go. Now users and platforms are a lot more savvy. Is super great content the best strategy?
Yeah, I would say not just content. I would say that every time you post a piece of content, you need to think about the distribution strategy for that content as well. So say you're posting a blog post, like there's no use of doing like 5 blog posts a week if you're going to not show anybody that you're doing all 5. Like if you can promote 2 of those blog posts a week, it's going to work a lot better. So I'd say with all content, including on Instagram, the further that you can take that content, the better. So if you can have content upgrades, it's just going to be, I'm sure, do you guys use content upgrades quite a bit?
No.
Where, like, say, like Nathan from Founder, they use them quite a lot. So he would have he'd do a post on how to grow your Instagram account, and then he'd have a downloadable, like, free ebook. So we use, like, a lot of downloadables, like, we'd have, like, a free detox program or a free eating plan or a checklist or a quiz. Like, all those things are just going to work that bit better. So content upgrades on your pre-existing quality content is always going to be pretty handy for lead generation, because usually, like, to get that, you get them to enter their emails.
Cool. And then like, so as it stands now, do you have like, is the structure just a bunch of social media experts and content writers and all that are working across several brands in your office?
They're all standalone companies. They all, Drop Bottle, Skin Tox and Skinny Me Tea are all in the same office, and they're the same, like they're under the same group. But the fifth is separate, and so is Nichify, and all separate offices as well.
And what's Frank Body? Is another business you're involved in?
I'm not involved,
No.
but my sister founded Frank Body
All right.
with a couple of her friends and her now fiance. So.
And was that mum saying you got to share your social media accounts with your sister?
No, not quite. We did do a few shout outs for them at the start, but they grew really organically. They have incredible content. I don't know does anyone follow Frank Body in the room? Yeah. They've got a great tone of voice. They did the whole like first person as Frank, the body scrub. They grew really, really well. It has nothing to do with me.
So is your role now come in and kind of curate what other people are doing? Like, I like that, piss that one off.
I would love to say yes.
Yes, but still very much hands-on.
No, I'm pretty hands-on.
Yeah.
Quite often. In Nichify, it's annoying because I am quite hands-on, and we are going through our big product redevelopment, and as I'm more on the market side than the product side, I just kind of sit around anxiously and be frustrated a lot. So yeah, that's difficult, but Nichify is going to be taking up most of my time next year. The fifth, we've got a really, really great team, and Alex runs the operations there more so. I have less involvement there now. So it's just a good opportunity to really focus on Nichify, which is that kind of a bit more serious product. We do have our venture backing now. We do have people to be answerable to. Finally, I have someone that I need to talk back to, which is good. I really like that too. In fact, Blackbird are too easy on us sometimes. We go up and we want them to like whip us or something.
Yeah.
They're like, tell us to do something.
Well,
and they're like, yeah, good, looks great.
Well, tell me about some of the fun stuff, and like, you know, as your status as you know in social media has gone up. Like, I know that we kind of had to change this event around you being on a cruise ship with Eric Schmidt from Google and Jermaine Dupree and stuff.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the fun stuff that's happened as a result of your business.
That was a good one. So I was just at Summit at Sea again, if anyone's heard of that. It's basically like a global thought summit on a boat, which is apparently a ship, because if a boat can fit on a boat, then it's a ship. There was 3,500 entrepreneurs. It's an invite-only event, quite selected, but all different people. So my roommate was a paediatric radiologist, for example, but she did like some Doctors Beyond Borders type stuff, and there was quite a healthcare focus on the boat this year. And yeah, there was talks from like Quentin Tarantino, Erin Brockovich, Eric Schmidt, Gary Vee. Who else? Yeah, then there was Kendrick Lamar, Foster the People, Chances with Wolves. It was like a giant party. I got home, I think, 5:30 a.m. each night. And then during the day was conference-style talks. Actually, not really conference-style, like firesides and stuff, kind of like this.
Is Eric Schmidt just locking himself in the cabin, or are you just bumping into him at the buffet? Kind of
No, they all are out and around the boat. Eric, yeah, I met him at the whiskey tasting. That was fun. And he was with one of the ex-founders of PayPal. Not that teal one that's in trouble for liking Trump.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, it's just a really good experience. So that was a lot of fun. In 2013, we won Shopify's Build a Business competition, which was really cool. So they flew us to New York, and I got to meet some other really incredible mentors, Tim Ferriss, Damon John from Shark Tank, Eric Ries, who wrote The Lean Startup, and some others who were incredible. And yeah, so there's been some really cool experiences, obviously, living in Hong Kong for about a year. That was pretty unusual at 23. And we were living in the residences of a hotel, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, it's all broken up by fun, but it's still just a lot of hard work.
So I'm going to get to some of these questions, guys. I'm sorry, but what about? You sound like you're very creative. How do you stop? Diverting your attention to other ideas, right? Because I know
It's
as a
very hard.
creative entrepreneur, it's like too many things.
I stayed up all night the other night coming up with some new startup idea, and then the next day I'm like, I don't think it's that good.
Yeah. So how do you do that when you could just like potentially got 16 million followers? Surely it doesn't matter what you kind of pitch, you're gonna make some money somewhere. So how do you stop and say no? We're just on fifth watches at the moment,
Yeah, I think it's the times where you realise that you have too much on your plate, and you're like, I'm never doing this to myself ever again. I need to do less, not more. And you try to remember that in the times where you want to do more again. It is hard, and it is hard, turning down great people and great ideas, or trying to work out exactly, how to structure your time or your week or your value in whichever way you do that. Basically, I just need to keep telling myself less is more.
Yeah, that's where Nikki comes in.
Often, of course, they want me to focus on Nichify as much as possible. That's in their best interests.
Sure. You mentioned wanting a tech co-founder. Was it lack of ability to find one as the barrier, or question mark?
I think being in Melbourne and within my own network, I think I've networked with a lot more people on the market side than the product side, to be honest. A lot of the people that I knew were already doing things, and I didn't think that my thing should take them away from that. And I was used to being a sole founder. With Skinny Me Tea, I quite enjoyed being a sole founder. I like having things my way.
Nice.
So, I would have loved to have a technical co-founder though.
So does that just Nikki didn't like Nick? They're like Blackbird, very technical co-founder focus. How did you get around that conversation? I got 16 million followers. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, okay. You mentioned so through the ups and the downs. I missed that now. Can you put it back? Anyway, does Nichify focus more on the micro, macro, or mega influencer? And what segment have you seen been most effective?
That's a really great question. We do focus more on the long tail of influence rather than there's like the celebrity style influencers like the Kim Kardashians up the top, the Kylie Jenners that you pay $300,000 for one post to. I know people that are doing that right now. And then coming down, I think the most effective influencers are probably going to be around that 20 to 50,000 follower mark, because they're still really engaged with their audience. They have enough scale to be worthwhile, but at the same time, like, their audiences feel more like what they're saying is authentic. You know that when Kim Kardashian is posting like a gummy bear that's good for your hair, that she's getting paid for it. So it's those kind of more organic influencers that are maybe 20,000 that wear your watch, or there's like the 50,000 people that take like the most incredible product photography, because a lot of influence has to do with content as well. So you just want to pick the people that match your content style too, or it's really obvious.
Okay, go ahead.
So, building as someone that's trying to build through Instagram, when you're trying to approach these people that are, between that range that you said, you try DMing them on Instagram, you get no feedback. Like, how did you, when you started Skinny Tea, sort of hack that and get them to promote your stuff without them actually knowing who you were?
With SMT, the aim is always to be bigger than them, and that's not possible until you grow, obviously, so that's quite a difficult answer. With Skinny Me Tea, maybe we had like 5,000 followers or 10,000, and they would have 1,000, and so when we posted them, they would gain exposure from us as well, so that's helpful. I would say, yeah, building up it doesn't necessarily have to be a brand page that you're building. It could be something like, I know you're looking at doing a men's underwear company. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
It could be something like a page where you feature guys of different types around the world. I don't know, men with coffee or something like that. And then you can give them that reach in return. Like outside of money, it's very hard to offer things other than reach and exposure on social that people want. Through Nichify, the good part is that you might reach out to like 2,000 of these people and 100 might reply. Like basically it automates that for you. Like you can just say, I'd like to reach out to, I'd like an open campaign saying, I'll give you a pair of my underwear in return for a post on your social, and put that out to guys within the age group of like 18 to 28 worldwide, and just see who bites. So like, it's just kind of a tool to help you create that outreach and find that kind of perfect fit. And then once you do sell more, you can kind of pay for some of the posts and stuff, which is helpful.
This doesn't have a vote yet, but I like the question. What percentage of Skinny Me Tea sales are in Australia? What is overseas? And then off the back of that, explain how are you shipping product ahead of time into warehouses? How are you doing the distribution?
So we use a third-party distribution company.
Like a Shipwire?
Yeah, like a Shipwire.
Yep.
There's different ones. One in the US is called Fulfillment Express, and one in Melbourne is called DMC, if anyone wants any fulfillment companies. So basically, Australia still accounts for maybe like 40% of sales around, and then the US would be around 40 as well, and then 20 rest of world. It was very Australian based to begin with. Most of our sales were coming from Australia, and now it's kind of flipped a bit more to the rest of the world market. But yeah, that took time, and we could still always improve our processes, for sure. Like, you can consolidate in more places. People just want faster shipping, and they want free shipping worldwide.
So the pick and pack bit must be a very expensive component.
Yeah, kind of. More so the shipping itself. The pick and pack isn't as much as, like, Australian shipping sucks as well.
Is your product plus shipping or included?
No, included.
So that's where it
goes. Which is hard. Like, it takes a bit out of your profit margin, except it increases your conversions by a lot. So it's just kind of a way up. Usually the best way to do it is to set your free shipping amount as just above your average order value.
Nice. What does the average day look like for Gretta?
Oh God, there isn't one. No, it kind of depends. Depends where I am that day as well. Because I said we have like 3 different offices. It can get a bit messy, but I might go do Nichify in the morning for a couple of hours and then head across to SMT, a lot of emails, lots of chats with staff, of course, but I have great operational people in all the companies as well that do a really great job. Obviously a lot of posting to social media, not really on my personal, but on our branded accounts. I know weirdly enough, that's a hard question for me because it changes so much.
Oh, we'll take one last question here. The revenue model for Nichify, I know you said you weren't taking a clip, so how is that working?
Yeah, it'll be like a SaaS subscription model. We are currently non-monetized because I don't want to charge for a platform that I'm not happy with. So once we bring out our new release, like our December beta will be free that I spoke about before, but once we bring out our release in Jan, it will be subscription, but affordable. Like, it'll start at a startup rate and move up. so anybody could use it.
I'm going to end on this one because I like it's a bit better. Of all the businesses you've started, which one has given you the most personal satisfaction?
I'd have to, yeah, probably Nichify. Even though it's been the hardest, it really is kind of the embodiment of me in a platform. We were looking at name changes, and Charles, my business partner now, was thinking we should rename it Gretta. And I was like, I'd really rather not. I think I might have an identity crisis. But yeah, that platform really is me in a platform, and so that's why when it wasn't working the way that I wanted it to work, it just needed to change. And yeah, so I would say Nichify.
Cool. I want everyone back on their feet, and a big thank you to Gretta for coming and giving the time up tonight, please.